Happy holidays, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is James. Today we're going to be making some cannellonis. This is a very traditional recipe, specifically in Catalonia. So normally what they do is during Christmas they make a soup and they put meat in it, they put vegetables in it, pasta as well. And then the day after, on Boxing Day or St. Esteban, they make cannellonis from all the leftovers of the soup the previous day. So this is a very traditional recipe, specifically here in Catalonia, and there are two ways to make it. You can either make the soup first and then use all the leftovers and the vegetables, or make it like I'm going to show you today with, say, some meat and some other vegetables and make it yourself, specifically just the cannellonis. It is a little time intensive, just so you know, but they are very tasty and hopefully something that you will enjoy. So before I get started with this recipe, be sure to like the video down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys, if you haven't done so already, and let's get started. Now for the recipe that we're going to be making today, this is a meat-based cannelloni recipe, and you can make a vegetarian if you want. I'll give you another option down below if you would like to follow that recipe instead. But for this meat-based version, we're going to be using some chicken. We're also going to be using some chicken livers as well as some rabbit. And specifically, I'm going to be using chicken thigh. First, we're going to dice and slice all the vegetables, so the onions and the carrots. Peel the carrots, of course, then slice them again into smaller pieces. The smaller you cut them, the faster everything's going to cook. Then I'm going to get a saute pan, turn it on, and while we're cutting the veg, I'm going to cook the chicken thigh first. I'm going to put it skin side down, a little bit of oil in the pan, put it in the pan, and put a top on it and let it cook. Not overcook, but just let it cook a bit. Now to clean the livers, it's important that one, you wash them before. You just want to wash or rinse any residue off, and then as you see in the video, you want to take a paring knife and you want to go through them because there are many little veins in the livers that you want to take out. You definitely want to take out the larger veins, and then any excess blood or anything like this, you want to remove it. Take your time. It's better if you have a cutting board and then you take a piece of, say, oven paper down below. I ran out, so I couldn't use it. But anyway, take your time to go through the livers, and then once you're done with them, we're going to be ready to cook. Now, while the chicken livers and the vegetables are cooking, I am then going to debone the rabbit thighs. And just in a very quick and easy way. You're just going to go down the leg, cut the tendons off, and try to pull the meat away the best you can. After the chicken is ready, I'm going to take it out of the pan. The juices that are still in the pan, leave. And if they have not burnt, if you haven't burnt the chicken, leave them in the pan. If they have burnt, take the pan out, wash it, because otherwise it's going to have that residue, which is not a pleasant flavor. So with the juices, or with the juices from the chicken, I'm going to add the carrots and the onions to the saute pan. I'm going to cook this for several minutes. Then I'm going to add the livers. Once everything has been cooking for a few minutes, I'm going to open a bottle of wine or white wine, and I'm going to add a little bit of flavor to the mix as well. Then I'm going to take the rabbit, or the rabbit that we already deboned, and I'm going to take the meat and the bones. I'm going to put that in the saute pan with the wine, and then I'm going to put the lid on top, and all the flavors are going to mix. I'm also going to put a little bit of thyme. This is your choice if you want to, and I'm going to season it, some salt. Now after so many minutes, take the lid off and check the vegetables to see if they're done. The wine will start to reduce, and once the rabbit meat is done, we can remove this and let it cool because we have to pick through it still. And then just reduce the rest of the juices with the vegetables, and this is going to enhance the flavor of the dish. Now, when the meat is done with the chicken thighs, if you have any skin, remove it. And then if you see any bones or anything else, again, remove this. This is something I didn't mention earlier. Just, you want to remove the bones, the little ones, if there are any. The other thing is with the rabbit, you want to remove as much as you can. If you have any ligaments still in the thigh meat that's a little too big, remove it. Just cut it off. and try to get as much meat off the bone as physically possible. Once everything is ready, we're going to get our little food processor out. If you have a bigger one, you can use it. A handheld one will work as well. Just blend it very, very well. I'm going to take all the meat, I'm going to add it in, portion by portion if you're using a small one like me, and you're going to blend it extremely well. Add it into the bowl, do the same with the vegetables after the sauce is reduced, and then mix everything together. Now, if the mixture is a little dry, just a little, you can add a little bit of extra chicken stock to this, or if you want, you can also add a bit of lard. If you want to add any, this would be a good option. If not, this is more of a leaner type of recipe, so there's not hardly any fat in it because we're using chicken and we're also using rabbit, and rabbit really doesn't have any fat to it. So once you have everything mixed well, give it a taste. If it needs more salt, add a little bit of salt in. And now we're going to cook the pasta. So you have a few options with the pasta. You can either get the normal little ones that we have here in Catalonia, which is just a small little square for cannellonis, or you can actually get the Asian ones to make wontongs. You can buy them off of Amazon. I'll leave the link down below if you want to. They're a little easier to roll, they cook faster. So anyway, bring the water up to a boil, add some salt to it. Then you're going to take these little cannelloni pasta sheets and you're going to put them in separately. You want to make sure that they're separated. If you want, add a little bit of oil so they don't stick, and move them occasionally. Be careful, but move them. We're going to get a pot of cold water or another bowl with cold water. You can throw some ice in it, but it's not necessary if you're not making that much. And then after they're cooked, they have to be a little more cooked, not al dente, they have to be cooked. You're going to take some sort of spider, if you have one, and you're going to remove them, put them into the pot of water. So once this is ready, we're going to take a kitchen cloth, a clean one, something that doesn't have hair or anything on it, and you're going to get it damp. Yes, not wet, damp. Remove the excess moisture. You're going to lay it flat onto the counter, and then we're going to take each sheet of cannelloni and we're going to lay them out as you see in the video. It's very important that we work organized for this, because if you're organized, it's a lot faster and a lot easier to make these. Once all of them are laid out, and I'm cooking more as I'm speaking to you as well, I'm going to take the mixture and I'm just going to take a spoonful. Do a tester first to see if the amount is right. If you need to add a little more, add a little more. If you added too much, take a little out. Also, using a paring knife can actually help when you try to fold them like I'm doing in the video. Now, once you have all of them rolled and finished, I'm going to take a oven tray. I can put a little butter on the bottom, line them up, and now we're going to make the bechamel. So, easy bechamel, equal parts flour and butter. That's it. Take a saute pan that has a thick bottom to it. I'm also going to take a whisk. You're going to cook the flour until it's still like a blonde roux. You're going to cook it, and not too much because you don't want any color on this. Once this is starting to turn to the right color, we're going to add the milk. If your milk is cold, you need to put it in a pan before you start doing this and heat it up. If you're using milk like I'm using, which is at room temperature, because the milk that we buy typically is at room temperature, it's not in the fridge here in Europe, then I can cheat and add a little bit. But if it does clump together on you, then you do have to pass it through a chinois to take out all the bits. So it's up to you if you want to risk it. The safest route is heating the milk. Anyway, add a little bit of salt to it, pour the bechamel, and once it's at the consistency that you want, pour the bechamel over the cannellonis, set the oven on broil, and we're going to add a little bit of mozzarella on top and a little bit of Parmesan cheese as well. We're going to pop them in the oven, cook until they have a nice color on the top. I'm going to put them as close as I can to the top because this oven doesn't cook very fast. You need to know the characteristics of your oven. If it burns on the top, watch it. You may want to put some aluminum. But anyway, guys, once you're done, they should come out of the oven looking just like this, having a nice golden brown color on top with the cheese and the bechamel. And then you can make sure you separate them when you put them on the tray so you can easily take your spatula and plate them. And they are super, super tasty, and it's a great dish to make, especially during the holidays. And hopefully, guys, you will like this recipe that I've given you today. Now, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you enjoyed the explanations as well. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask, and write down in the comment section if you have any questions for me or any other suggestions on what to make. So, happy holidays, guys. Take care.
St. Nicholas, lean your ear this way.